There are pains that never heal. No matter how much time passes, no matter how green the grass on the grave grows, there is a fire that still burns in the heart of a father. An old man wearing a conical hat and a worn black cloak walks slowly through the deserted cemetery. The aisle is gloomy, the wind is blowing. In his hand he holds a sword wrapped in red cloth with frayed edges. 7 years ago, a demon in human form, an Aswang, tore his family apart, stealing away his only son right before his eyes. An old photo with the edges scorched, father, mother and the boy smiling brightly. Then the image of the Aswang eyes reflecting the fire, blood splattered in the darkness. Mang Biding's voice whispering like an oath. From that night, I am no longer a normal person. I am the blade of revenge, a living talisman. I will not stop until your kind disappears from this earth. Scene changes. He kneels down beside a small grave. The tombstone reads, Renato Biding Bear, farewell, my beloved son. He gently places chocolate bar next to the tombstone. The wind blows hard. Rain begins to fall. Every year on this day, I return, not to arrive but to remember, and to prepare for the next. Sudden transition, heavy rain pours down, a white car arrives in the middle of the night, stops. The glass door opens, a young man's voice rings out. Mang Biding, get in the car. Something's wrong. Your brother John Mark is dying. The old man's face lifts up. The rain washes away his tears, mixing with the raindrops from the lilac. His eyes burn, the eyes of someone who has crossed the line between human and demon. But this time what you face is not just an Aswang. It is whole force that wants to be resurrected. And John Mark is just the first sacrifice. Mag-asawang Albularyo ili Aswang, opening chapter, the blood oath. There are losses that never heal. No matter how much time passes, no matter how green the grass grows on the grave, there is an oath that still bleeds, just like that fateful night. He gently places the chocolate bar on the gravestone. A strong wind blows across. His face is stern. His eyes are red and swollen, full of restraint. Mang Biding mumbling, today is your birthday. I have nothing except chocolate bar, your favorite. But a promise. I haven't forgotten. I will find that thing, the darkness that took you away from me. The camera zooms slowly into the inscription on the gravestone. Renato Biding Bear is 0 years old, rests in the arms of God. Flashback, 7 years day. Renato happily. Dad, buy me more chocolate tomorrow. Mang Biding smiling softly. As long as you're alive, I won't lack anything. Suddenly, a strange noise outside the window. The wind dies. The air becomes heavy. Renato turns his head, his face stiff. Dad, who's that at the door? Mang Biding steps out, dagger in hand, sensing the murderous aura. The door bursts open. A dark gray creature, red eyes, long claws, rushes in. Dolores screams. Renato is pulled off the table. Blood splatters. Mang Biding fights fiercely. Swords, charms, salt, no use. The Aswang leaves, leaving Renato's body curled up, eyes still open, lips purple. That night, I lost everything. I lost my wife and my child. I lost myself. The camera pans slowly around the burned-out house. In his arms, he holds his son's body, the fire reflecting in his eyes, red. Mang Biding is still standing in front of the grave. He lights a handful of dry grass and whispers a spell. Mang Biding. Blood for blood. Darkness must return to light. I swear it will not stop until all of you are buried under my feet. People call him Mang Biding the Wanderer. An Albularyo, the last shaman of the old generation. He lives between two worlds, humans and demons. He travels through villages, healing with charms, herbs, coconut oil. But his eyes, always full of sadness. But he is not looking for thanks. He is looking for something else, a specific demon. A stench of blood, of unfulfilled hatred. Back to the present. Mang Biding walks out of the cemetery. It's raining heavily. A white car pulls up. The window rolls down. Genesis panic. Mang Biding. Get in the car. Your brother. John Mark, something's wrong. He's not human. He stops, his hands still covered in ritual ashes. He looks into Genesis' eyes. The rain hits his face but he doesn't blink. Mang Biding cold. It's already started. Genesis hurriedly. Little brother John Mark has had a fever for days. Not going down. Not eating. Not talking. The doctor said it's just a virus. But his eyes are no longer Noe brothers. Mang Biding is silent. His eyes sweep over the wet trees on both sides of the road. His face gradually becomes serious. Mang Biding quietly. When the body is sick but the soul does not live, maybe the devil is finding a way in. John Mark's house, night. Small house, weak yellow light. Wind whistling through the crack in the door. John Mark lies on the bed, pale face, sweat dripping from his forehead. Beside him sits Joshua, his cousin, sitting quietly. Dolores, just entering with Biding, whispering softly. Something is wrong. I feel cold on the back of her neck even though there is no wind. Mang Biding puts his hand on John Mark's forehead. Suddenly he twitches slightly, his eyes open, his pupils are dark as if smoke. Mang Biding, seriously. This is no longer normal fever. Night falls. Everyone is asleep. The camera pans slowly around the house. A shadow passes behind the curtains. Footsteps but no one. John Mark begins to whisper in his dream. John Mark in the dream, faintly. It's standing outside the window. Joshua jumps up, startled. Looks outside, nothing. But from a low angle, muddy footprints can be seen on the wooden floor, wet and facing the door. The next morning. Inside the house, Mang Biding opens an ancient book, a record of possessed beings. Dolores makes ginger tea, but her hands are shaking slightly. Dolores. Last night, dreamed of a girl standing in front of John Mark's bed, long hair covering her face, no legs. Mang Biding. It wasn't a dream. It was ipagsalin, a spirit transfer. An Aswang looking for a host. Dolores pauses. Never Biding adds more oil to the lamp. Mang Biding. It happened to my son. Exactly 2 years ago, a small scratch, as lanted brave. And then, he disappeared, leaving behind a body that was no longer him. Afternoon. Mang Biding begins to prepare the ritual to test for the curse mark. On the table, bamboo knife, raw garlic, coconut oil, salt, and a shiny black stone. He lightly cuts the tip of John Mark's finger, drops blood into a bowl of water. The water immediately turns purple-black, bubbling slowly. Joshua, voice trembling. What is it? Eloy, did the water change color? Mang Biding sternly. A sign of an invitation from the other side. Someone or something is asking to borrow the boy's body. That night, Dolores does not sleep. She walks around the house, sprinkling salt in the corners. The wine suddenly stops. A white figure stands still in the garden. It is unclear whether it is a person or an illusion. Dolores holds her breath. A whisper reaches her ear, no words, just a cold sound. She turns around. There is no one. But the cloth from John Mark's shirt, torn and wet as if soaked in blood. Dolores whispers, eyes wide. It is coming. This time it wants more than a child. And the wine howls. The shot shifts to John Mark sleeping. The camera zooms in on his eyes, slowly opening. The pupils are now half human, half demon. If we don't stop it in time, not only John Mark, but the whole village will become gateway for the demons to return. Night. In the small kitchen, the oil lamp flickers. Dolores sits alone, holding an old bracelet, her eyes distant. Mang Biding enters and sits opposite. Mang Biding, doubting. Is there something you haven't told me? Your eyes are like that night 7 years ago. Dolores, silent for a long time, then whispers. I used to be one of them. An Aswang. The air seems to freeze. The clock ticks. The camera zooms in on Mang Biding's eyes, shocked but not entirely surprised. Dolores. Before I met you, I lived in blood and darkness, but chose to leave because I loved you. I was cursed, but you were the only antidote. Scene change, journey back near the village. It's getting dark. The couple pack their things. Dolores puts some herbs in her bag and tells John Mark. Mang Biding. In the old village, do you still remember the way? Dolores. I can't forget it, whether it's a village or devil's nest. That's where I buried my childhood. A shot of we journey through the forest, wind howling, trees swaying. The camera pans over unusual signs, toppled idols, bloody trees, children staring from afar. Word village, introducing Supremo. They arrive at the village. The people are behaving strangely, blank eyes, stiff smiles. No one asks, no one greets. The air is soaked in cold wax. In the center of the village, an ancient mansion rises from the grasslands, the residence of Don Rogelio, the new lord. He has money, power, and a look not human. Here power is not in the law. It is in the blood, and who controls the souls of the villagers. Dolores whispers to Biding as they mingle in the village market. Don't look into their eyes too long, some are no longer human. Reveal conspiracy, rebirth, leave demon kingdom. Overnight, they secretly watch. In a basement under the mansion, the minions, Aswangs disguised as civilians, were performing bloody rituals, animal sacrifices, learning summoning magic. Don Rogelio, speaking to the minions. The people have fallen. This world needs a new order. An empire where instinct is worshipped. We will rebuild Kaharian ng Dilim, the kingdom of darkness. He holds up a map marking the surrounding villages. Dolores whispers in panic. They are preparing to spread to eat into the system, gradually turning the whole country into a demon land. Conflict between humans, half-humans, demons. In the underground tavern, where the sober people of the village gather, a group of demi-humans, those who have Aswang blood but deny their nature, secretly discuss with biting. The man, demi-human. You call us monsters. But you are the ones who let the demons rise. If we don't cooperate, we will all die. Mangbiding coldly. I don't discriminate, you a blood, only you a conscience. The camera pans quickly across the characters, humans, demi-humans, and disguised minions, as if signaling a three-way battle is about to take place. On the hilltop overlooking the village, Mangbiding and Dolores stand still. The fire of the farewell palace flickers. They know time is running out. Dolores. If we don't stop him, there's no safe place for anyone. Not humans. Not demons. Not Yudi. Biding holds his wife's hand, his eyes determined. The wind blows his cloak. The camera zooms out slowly, the Raya thunders in the distance as if forewarning the purge is coming. Sometimes to defeat demons, we have to step into their lair. But if we step too deep, will we still be ourselves? The church bells rang loudly. The villagers gathered in the square. In the light of torches, Dolores was tied up, kneeling at the foot of the stone statue. The leader, Supremo ng mga Aswang, stood before her. Supremo, snarling. This is a blood traitor. An Aswang who sleeps with a man of human blood must be burned. Tonight. The villagers howl. Some shake their heads silently, their eyes full of conflict. A group of demi-humans silently watch from afar. Mangbiding tortured between love and justice. In the abandoned hut on the edge of the village, Mangbiding sits motionless, holding an old sword. Sweat is dripping from his forehead. In front of him is a bracelet, a keepsake from Dolores. Voice over Mangbiding's inner thoughts. As a husband, I cannot watch my wife die like an animal. But as a shaman, I cannot go against the village order. So who am I in this broken world? He stands up. His face changes. His eyes sharpen. He draws his sword, the blade that has been dormant for the past 7 years. Prisoner break tension. Third watch. Thick fog. Mangbiding sneaks through the bamboo forest, using garlic smoke and wormwood to neutralize the guards. The sound of a small flute, the signal to summon the remaining talisman keepers, the Antingero group. Old Antingero whispers. For Dolores or for your son from long ago? Mangbiding briefly, coldly. For everything I've ever lost. And for the only thing I still have, hope. The action happens quickly, using sealing spells, smoke bombs, wooden weapons with charms. They free Dolores. But just as they exit the village gate, Supremo appears. Think you can escape? Mangbiding confronts directly. Two eyes, one is a shaman, the other is a demon king, look at each other as if calculating 1,000 years of grudges. John Mark saw struggle. Parallel at the old house. John Mark, now unconscious, stands in the middle of the room, his skin pale, his eyes turning gray. Joshua panics, trying to hold his brother. Joshua, can you hear me? John Mark? He screams. The roar is no longer human. A black aura surrounds him. In John Mark's head, abstract shot, his soul is being pulled. Eli, two hands. One is the hand of his dead mother, the other is a faceless female demon. Each human is the battlefield of two worlds. And when no one is guarding, evil enters. John Mark falls into a half-demon state, begins crawling on the wall, screeching, preparing to attack his cousin. Dolores, weak but conscious, signals with her blood to create a protective seal for John Mark from a distance. Meanwhile, Mang Biding and the Antingiros confront the Aswang army. Drums pound. Spells. Swords. Blood spills. Amulets burn in the air. The Supremo casts a paralyzing curse. The shamans counter the spell with ancient chants. A supernatural battle, where the winner needs not only strength, but faith. Slow motion, Mang Biding is knocked down. Dolores shouts loudly. Biding, don't let the past overwhelm your heart. He jumped up, mixed his own blood with salt and oil, and drew forbidden seal to kill one of the henchmen leaders. After repelling the attack, John Mark collapsed. Joshua hugged his brother. Dolores looked at Mang Biding, her eyes filled with pain. Dolores. He is the last one who can stop Don Rogelio's resurrection. Mang Biding. Or be the bridge for him to return. The group fell silent. The wind whistled through the thatched roof. In the distance, the gloomy drum beat sounded again. The Supremo was not dead. In the darkness, there was still one last act. When blood mixes with magic and love meets destiny, can humans still keep their souls in the battle between light and darkness? There are things that don't die, they just wait for the right time, the right blood, the right soul. Don Rogelio, a middle-aged man, bloodshot eyes, steps out from the stone gate. He holds a black, smoking spear. Behind him is an army of Aswangs, howling, hungry, ready to devour all of humanity. At the edge of the village, in the ring of fire, Mang Biding, Dolores, John Mark, the Antingero group and the demi-human group gather. Everyone's hands are covered in blood, their own blood, and that of the past. Mang Biding, voice hoarse. This is no longer a war for anyone. Not humans, not demons. This is a choice about the world I want to leave behind. He draws a large circle with holy oil. John Mark places his hand on his heart, his eyes brighter. His soul is returning, but still fragile. Final battle, Ian Rogelio reveals Laetiri form. Don Rogelio roars. His body changes, hair falls out, his back is hunched, his fingernails grow long, his eyes are red, his skin cracks open, revealing sharp spikes. He becomes Demon King. Every step he takes causes the earth to split. The Antingiros use wooden charms, wooden swords carved with wormwood, holy blood. They attack like a storm. Dolores throws net of fire magic to block. John Mark, for the first time, uses his own inner energy to protect himself, like radiates from his chest. But it's not enough. Don Rogelio sends them all flying with a wave of magical power. A final blow aimed at John Mark. Sacrifice, Venu resurrection, ye decisive moment, determination. Dolores rushes forward, blocking her son. Waves of energy pass through her, a moment of suffocating silence. Dolores, tears welling up. John Mark, you carry the light never had. She transfers the last of her protective aura into his body. Dolores' body dissolves into white ash, swirling into the amulet circle, activating the 1,000-year seal. Finishing me a Demon King, ye last flame. Mang Biding uses his own blood, mixed with holy water, to soak the ancestral sword. John Mark holds Don Rogelio tightly within the seal. Mang Biding. With the blood of early ancestors, with the sacred love of early mother, I restore balance to this world. He thrusts. The light flares up, Don Rogelio screams, disintegrates into ashes. The gates of hell collapse. The Aswang army crumbles to dust. The next morning, the sun rises after many days of darkness. Mang Biding kneels alone beside the charred ground where his wife turned to ashes. He puts down his sword, whispering as if in a final salute. Mang Biding, you keep your word and I'll live. But from now on it is the children who guard this world. He turns to John Mark, now steady, his eyes calm. Mang Biding, go. Take the light. And if tomorrow the darkness returns, let this word speak. Epilogue, new legend begins. Scene change, a small house in America. John Mark hangs the ancestral sword on the wall. Next to him is a young girl, bright eyes, holding a laptop, analyzing supernatural phenomena. A map appears, marking unexplained incidents across America. Girl, smiling. What shall we call this group? John Mark, silently looking at the sword. Bantay ng liwanag, guardians of the light. Every generation has a torch. And when the light goes out, someone will always rise up to light it again.